Good evening. My name is Stacy Wilgoren. I live in District 1, and I will also go on record to say that I am not opposed to having my taxes go up as long as there are no further cuts to the school department budget. I want to express concern about two statements that were made during this subcommittee meeting last week, and also a concern about the fact that it is May 20th and we still do not have an approved budget. This is causing a lot of avoidable stress and tension for many employees who show up to work every day to serve this city, most of whom work in our schools. There have already been at least 80 educators who will not have jobs here next year. However, beyond those already notified, there are many more educators who continue showing up every day wondering whether they'll be told, maybe on like June 15th, they might not have a job next year here in the city of Framingham. They're wondering how they'll support their families, feed their children, and find employment after the typical hiring season has largely passed. The vast majority of jobs are posted and filled between March and May. What this delayed budget process has done to employees in the city is unfair and unkind. However, back to the statements from last week. One statement was, I get very few calls from people saying, I've got extra money to give to the city of Framingham. Where do I make the check payable to? Very few. But I hear about people who are worried about staying in their homes. Just because nobody has reached out offering to send a check to the city, you equate that to somehow indicating people do not support raising taxes. That conclusion is both logically that is illogical and disconnected from reality. It was also stated by more than one of you that perhaps it would be helpful to poll voters to see what they think. A poll is a great idea, but not for the middle of May. If you ask 1,000 voters whether they want their taxes to increase, of course most will say no. If you ask 1,000 voters, however, whether they want city services compromised, whether they want schools understaffed, or whether they want students to lose the support that they need and that hopefully we all agree they deserve, I think most people would also say no. For many residents, their home is their largest financial investment. Strong schools and city services help protect property values and keep Framingham a desirable place to live. Continually cutting services and underfunding schools comes with real long-term economic consequences for homeowners as well. Costs increase, salaries increase, state and federal funding fluctuate. It's simply not possible to maintain the same level of services while expecting the tax rate to remain unchanged indefinitely. You don't need an override. You don't need a vote from taxpayers to raise taxes to fund an appropriate and acceptable budget, the one that Framingham students deserve. You were elected, many of you uncontested, to make difficult decisions like these. It's time to make them. You need to accept a proposal that includes a tax increase to fully fund the proposed school budget. Fight for the current and future students of Framingham who cannot fight for themselves. Thank you.